Hello, everyone. Good night. Glad you are all here for the RancHER 2025. It is our fifth edition. I can't believe it. I'm Juliana Ranches, and I'm assistant professor and beef extension specialist for RU State University, and I'm based in Eastern Oregon in Burns. So this is our fifth edition together. If you don't know, RancHER started back in 2021 as a webinar series to promote the work that women are doing in agricultural industries, and I'm really proud of where we got to. This year we decided to change things a little bit, and we're gonna actually highlight a little bit more of our speakers. So this edition, we're doing things different by the way that we're going to actually have some conversation with the speakers before each talk. And then we're going to follow up with their presentations. So for tonight's presentation, we actually have Dr. Barbara Roqueto dos Reis. We also have Ruth, I'm always going to struggle with her last name, Dr. Ruth Woiwode, that she's going to be presenting tomorrow, actually. So since this is our first night together, I just want to remind you guys of a few details. So for the questions, we're going to be using the Q&A box, which should be on the bottom of your screen, the Q&A. So you can type your questions at any time during the conversation or during the presentation later. We also have the chat going on today. So if you want to say hi, hello to people, feel free to go there. And we also had a survey going on that I just launched. So if that's on your screen, go ahead and share with us. We want to know more about you. So where you're joining us from, and think that at this point, most of people are from the west of the US. We do have some folks from outside of the US. That's very excited. We have quite a bit of students, some producers joining us too. A lot of first timers, so that's very exciting. But a lot of people that have attended 3 or more RancHERs, so this is very, very interesting. And then most of people are here that because they want to learn new skills and gain more knowledge. So I guess you're at the right place, right? Barbara's gonna share a lot of interesting information with us tonight. So one more reminder before we really start with this conversation is that at the end of the night, we're actually going to have a prize drawing. We have a prize drawing for every night that we're together. So if you want to be part of that, it's a $100 Amazon gift card. So go ahead and stay with us till the end. And then Barbara is going to be doing the prize drawing tonight. So I think I've covered everything that I want to cover on the reminders and how the thing's gonna roll tonight. But before we start into our conversation, I actually want to read Dr. Dos Reis' bio so we get a little bit more familiar with her. So Dr. Barbara dos Reis is original from Brazil, where she earned her bachelor's degree in animal science and her master's degree in ruminant nutrition for the University of São Paulo. In 2023, she earned her Ph.D. from Virginia Tech, focused on the use of precision technologies and data science for monitoring ruminant nutrition and stress. Dr. dos Reis is currently an assistant professor at Mississippi State University, where she manages the White Sand Research Unit and leads a research extension program in beef cattle production. Her research focused on integration of nutrition management and precision technologies as strategies to enhance efficiency and productivity in beef cattle systems. Her extension program focused on disseminating her research finds to producers through meeting, field days, and extension publications. A little bit what she'll be doing tonight with us here. Barbara, thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here. I know you for, I don't know, I don't want to date myself here, but I guess we go, I don't know, 10
In
years.
years, I guess.
Yeah, we know each other for a long time. So I'm really, really happy that you accept the invitation to be joining us. And I'm excited that you're here sharing a little bit of your work with us tonight. Um, let me just end the poll right now. So it's not in everybody's way, I guess. and then I guess we can start it. I'm just gonna call you Barbara because it's easier, I guess, or Dr. Hayes. I love both
No,
actually.
Barbara's fine, totally fine.
Perfect. So, Barbara, can you tell us how you started your career? Like, I know I just read your bio a little bit, but if you can give us a little bit more, like, what made you get into this path and working agriculture, working with beef cattle?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here tonight, and thank you all for connecting. So I grew up in Brazil around livestock. So my family has a small beef cattle operation back in Brazil. So I think agriculture has always been part of my life. So, growing up around livestock led me to pursue my bachelor's in animal science. And during my undergraduate training, I start getting involved with research earlier during the bachelor's. So I knew that I wanted to continue and get my master's degree, right? So I got my master's, and then I had the opportunity to come to the United States, to the US during my undergrad, and also again during my master's. And I knew that I wanted to continue and get my PhD. So I got my PhD, and during my PhD, I knew for sure that I wanted to build a career in research. So here I am.
That's
Basically,
awesome.
short story. Here I am.
No, I mean, but it's nice. I mean, I think you've been exposed since an early age, and that's what motivated you to be in the industry,
Exactly.
right? So that's basically how I got into agriculture too. Like same thing. My family had a ranch, had animals. I mean, more on the citrus side. So it
Mm-hmm.
is. I couldn't see myself doing other thing, honestly.
Yeah, it comes very naturally when you grow up around cattle or agriculture, so it tends to lead the way, right? So yeah.
Yeah, very nice. So I just read your bio and I was saying that you started your position in 2023, right? At Mississippi.
Yeah, so I finished my PhD in 2023 July, and I started my position in September in the same year. So I have been here for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean that's a I've been following your career so far, so I know of you've accomplished a lot in those 2 years. So what is that you're most proud of it, or like what is like, what's the or something that really gives you joy in day to day, like anything that you want to share with us on that.
So I think I'm an young scientist, right? So I have been in this position for only 2 years, and I think that in these 2 years, I feel that I had grown a lot. But I think what I'm most proud of is actually to be able to get my PhD here in the US, because it is a different culture, right? A different language. So I step out completely out of my comfort zone. And
Mhm.
besides a new language, a different culture, I ended up working with precision technologies and data science that I had no background. I would say zero background at the time. So I learned a lot how to be resilient and don't give up. So I'm very proud during those to be able to grow in that time. But I think right now in my position, what keeps motivating me is knowing that I can help producers even a little bit with my work, and know that that can make a difference. So even if it's a small difference, I think that's what motivates me the most.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, by the end of the day, it's that feeling of being useful and serving to a purpose, right? Like
Uh-huh.
that keeps you motivated. That's really nice. And the training, right? I feel like, yeah, I moved to the US in 2013, and I feel like sometimes that doesn't, like it is a big move. It is it's crazy. So
It
like
is
this is
huge.
something.
It is so difficult. Even like I have been here for 6 years already, totally living the West, and every day is a new challenge, right? And I think we just learn a little bit every day.
Yeah. So what like skill set or a mindset or a support system have you developed to, help you to grow professionally or help you to keep in the right mindset when you have those challenges and stuff like that? Is there anything you have to share? Or if you have a role model, someone that inspires you to keep going, keeping like finding your purpose or like serving producers, things like that.
I think, as I mentioned, the mindset that I think that I learn and that made me grow a lot is resilience, right?
Mm.
And also be willing to ask for help. We don't know everything, right? And none of us know. So I think building relationships and knowing when you need to ask for help is essential. And I think it's so important that to build this relationship and to learn from each other in life and also in our work, right? So I think that's why we are here to build relationships. But the real model, I do have people that are inspired in life. That is my mom for sure. And then in academia, Temple Grandin is, I think she inspires a lot of people, right? But I cannot forget to talk about my former mentor, advisor, Robin White. I think she's a extremely brilliant scientist, and her critical thinking and the way that she solve a problem and the way that she approaches something really inspires me. And then I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to work with her during my PhD. I think, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I mean, I love that you're saying that we need to recognize when we need help. We're not alone, right? And I will never forget when I was in Florida, someone once said like Ryan, he was one of the farm crew people, and we were working, and he turned to me. I don't remember what was going on, but he turned to me and said like, we're only we're strong as our weakest link in a chain. That made no sense to me at the time, right? I think it was language barrier or something. And today it makes so much sense, right? And goes hand in hand with the you need to learn to
Yeah.
ask for help when you need it because you're only strong as your weakness, right? So like that makes a lot of sense. And I
And
love
actually, ask for help is a very difficult thing to do, in my opinion, right? So sometimes we hesitate to ask for help because we don't want to bother the other person, or but I think, at least myself, I'm so happy when I can help somebody, and then ask to know when we need help. I think is essential.
Yeah, no, that's I totally agree. For me, it's not easier either. And sometimes when I do ask, I'm proud of myself for doing
Yeah,
it.
me too. Because
And
we tend to hesitate.
in
Yeah.
the same way around like I like to help. Sometimes it looks like I'm not super happy and helping maybe because I have so much going on, but I promise I'm happy to be useful and being and serving people. So I like that too.
Yeah.
And I also love all the names you dropped, like Temple Branding and definitely an inspiration. And we actually have Ruth here. That was her student gonna be talking to us tomorrow. So might hear that name again. And Robin White, your former mentor, she was a speaker a few, if not last year, a few years ago. I don't, my memory is like horrible. But she was amazing. And I totally agree. Like very critical thinking, the work she's been doing, it's amazing. And your mom, of course, right? Like she's amazing.
It's
Just
awesome.
yeah, sweetie lady. Um, so kind of going more like you drop a bunch of lady names, right? So what about being a woman in agriculture? Like, is there anything you ever faced that, in our is still male-dominated field that has been more challenge for you? If you've been in those situations, how you like how you deal with those situations, or how did you like overcome anything that you felt like because you're a woman, if you're not, maybe it would be different. Like, do you have anything on those lines to share?
I think a woman in general, especially in our field, we have to constantly prove ourselves a little bit every day, right? In our field, but and we do face some challenges at the beginning, I would say. But I think in my case, I have been very fortunate because people gave me opportunities that most of people and women do not have. But when I do face some challenges and for being a woman, I try to show that I'm also here to learn, that I don't know everything, and be consistent on my work and show that I'm here to help and also to learn from you. And I think that had helped me with those challenges. But in general, I think I have been more fortunate than sorry in terms of those challenges. I'm not saying that we don't face challenge because we do every day, but yeah.
Now that's pretty good. And I mean, you're in a position that you have a supervisory role, like you manage the research center, right? So
Yes.
I can only imagine things that it's a lot. I would assume it's a lot. So
Yeah, when I actually start this position, being a fresh PhD, managing station and employees, they tend to doubt your capacity because our age and also they have been doing this for so long, right? Most longer than us. But I think when they see that we are also here to learn, we are consistent, we show up, I think that helps a lot. And then little by little, we start to gain some respect. And I think that's the way to go, at least in my case.
yeah, I really like that approach of like we are partners, right? We are here to work together. We have similar goals and we want to accomplish things together.
Exactly.
I want to learn from you. I understand you have more experience. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really important. Um, that's really good. So you've been in academia for 2 years now as a faculty. You've been before as a student, right? So you have some background, and more recently we've seen things changing, and it has been very unpredictable. So how you deal with that, with the a diversity or uncertainty? And maybe if you can give like a, more professional view and maybe more on a student side view, like since we have quite a bit of students too.
Um, that's I think a tough one, right? Because I think we face challenges every day in academia in different aspects. But I think remembering why I choose this career, right, this path, and remembering the big picture and that I can somehow even a little bit make an impact, and that matters, even if that impact is small. I think that motivates me to keep going. And also, in research, we find new things to explore and new things every day. And then I'm a person that I'm also trying to learn something, anything, every day. And then we have this opportunity in research, not only in research, but I think in any aspect, but in terms of our work as well. So I think that's what remembering the big picture and know that we are here to make an impact. If that impact is small, I think that's what motivates me the most.
Yeah, that's very good. Just remember why you were doing what you're doing, right? And that should
Hmm.
keep you going regardless of
Exactly.
the environment around you. That's a good point. Kind of the same line, like what about an advice that you either would like to receive as a like earlier in your career, or someone that's younger generation trying to get into the cattle or agricultural industry? Do you have any, advice you would like to give to those folks that are listening to us?
I think uh, I would say not only in research or academia, but in general, I think stay curious, right? And keep taking any opportunity to learn, and don't wait to feel ready for anything, because we are never gonna feel ready for anything in life. And so just is if you're afraid, step out of your comfort zone, because it's out of our comfort zone that we grow the most, right? So keep curious and keep learning. I think that's an advice. And in terms of a career, I think an advice that I got, I think from Robin during my PhD is we don't have to have our career figured it out right now, right? We just have to keep showing and doing our work. And as we started our career, the path will become clear, and I think everything would make sense at some point. We just have to keep showing and work hard. So that's what I keep trying to do. So I think that's the advice.
Yeah, that's really good. I totally agree that we grow in discomfort. So just, put yourself out there. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to
Yep.
accomplish. If you don't put yourself out there, you're not gonna do it. Nobody's gonna knock on your door and be like, "Hey,
And
here's
take your hand and come on now. It's just you.
Exactly. Yeah. No, those are really good, really good. That's kind of the questions I have for this first portion of it. I don't know if you have anything else that you like share with the audience before we started, but one more question I do have is like, what is the main goal of your talk today? What is one information you want to people take out of your presentation tonight? Like
I
if
think
there's
is
only one thing, right?
okay. So this talk will be primarily focused on management strategy, right? And specifically focus on growth promoting implants. And if there was one thing that I would like the audience to live with is base science technology can actually help improve efficiency in beef systems, and also improve the consumer side of things, and in at the same time not compromising safety. So that's what I would like to the attendees to live with. So growth promoting plants are safety for consumers, and also a very good tool to be using livestock.
Yeah, I'm very excited for your talk. I've never worked with implants, but this is definitely one of the technologies that I'm like, yeah, this definitely makes a lot of sense and a producer perspective and return of investment. So I'm excited to see what you have to
Yeah,
share.
so I have never worked with implants before either. So I started last year when I started my position. So it's always a learning process for anything, right? So I hope I can share good things with you all, and you can learn even if a little bit today.
That's awesome. I mean, you're following your own advice, right? Getting out of your uh,
Yes,
comfort
every
zone,
day,
working with
every
things
day.
that never worked before. There we go. Well, thanks very much, Dr. Dos Reis. Why am I saying that like that? I
I
don't know.
don't know.
But anyway, I'm happy that you're here tonight, and those are the questions I have for us to get to know you a little bit better. I think now that everybody has a little bit of more background, understands where you come from and what brought you to where you are today. So I think that makes people appreciate a little bit more what you're gonna share tonight, right? So with that, I would like to um, share a little bit that you're gonna be presenting nutrition and management strategies for cow-calf systems growth promote implants. So with that, I'm just gonna let you share your screen and start rolling. And we'll do questions at the end.
Can you see my my slide?
Yes. Do you wanna
Okay,
advance just to make sure it's working? And then there we go.
sounds good.
Perfect. Thank you,
Um,
Barbara.
so thank you so much, Juliana, for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here tonight, and thank you all for connecting. So as I mentioned, I'll be talking a little bit today on management strategy for beef cattle systems, but we are mostly discuss about growth promoting implants, right? So as I mentioned, I started working with implants last year, my first year since I joined this position in Mississippi State. So that was also a learning process, and I think we were able to accomplish a couple of things within these 2 years, and I'll be sharing today with you all. Okay, so just for a presentation overview, really quick, I'm gonna give a briefly introduction on calf systems, and then we're gonna move towards a growth promoting implants, where I'm gonna explain how they work and their mode of action in a very simple way. And I'll be sharing the past research and the first research that we conducted here last year, and the current research that we just finished actually this last week. Out that we also use this technology, and mostly focus on the cow calf systems, especially the nursing phase. Okay. So we know that cow-calf systems are the base of the entire beef systems, right? Because nutritional, because is that the production within this stage that have long implications for the beef systems, because it's actually that productivity that determines the availability of cattle for growth and slaughter, right? So today, I would say more than ever, considering the cattle markets and also the growing population and the increase for protein from animal source, right? Our goal is to maximize calf production efficiency within the systems, right? So the goal for any cow-calf systems is actually to produce a calf per cow per year, right? And to be able to achieve that, we have to provide adequate nutrition and management in order to achieve this goal and maximize calf production efficiency. Right. So I think in any discussion that we talk of cow-calf production systems, we have to consider actually maternal nutrition and fetal growth, right? So we cannot discuss a cow-calf system without mentioning these two factors here. So, although we do know that most of the fetal growth happen in the third trimester of gestation, and that's actually when a lot of research has been focused is on the third trimester of gestation. We do know now that specifically organs are actually formed during early stages of gestation, right? Those organs such as pancreas and also liver. So maternal nutrition, even during early stages of gestation, do modulates fetal development, right? And will have consequences on the offspring postnatal life, such as birth weight, weaning weight, and also carcass characteristics. So when we do look at this picture, which is a classic picture, right? So a lot of we at least I hope you all have seen this picture before. So in that case of muscle, skeletal muscle, that formation occurs particularly during the embryonic development, right? Where we're gonna see the primary myogenesis occurring in the initial period stage of gestation, and the secondary myogenesis in the middle, in the mid stage of gestation. So what happened during this myogenesis is that is gonna set the total number of muscle fibers of an animal, right? So meaning that when a calf is born, the number of fibers, the number of cells are set, and so that means that are fixed, and we cannot change later on. So is during this fetal growth, and if any restriction nutrition happens during this primary myogenesis and the secondary one, that is not that's gonna have effect on the postnatal life of the animal, right? And we will affect a muscle formation. So this picture highlights how maternal nutrition, even during the early stage of gestations, modulates that calf postnatal development after all. But we do also know that postnatal development continues after birth, right? So we have organs that continue to be developed postnatal life, and any early life environmental stimuli can also trigger cellular, biochemical, and molecular adaptations that would lead to changes on that animal metabolism and also physiology, right? So this term, metabolic imprinting, refers to how early life nutrition, that means postnatal, can cause also less changes in that calf growth, development, and future performance. So there are two concepts here. So fetal programming, any changes that occurs before life, right? So not before life, prenatal stages, and metabolic imprinting postnatal development, right? So in case of metabolic imprinting in cattle, classic examples are early weaning strategies and creep feeding, right? So these two strategies, when their eye apply properly, they can have lasting long effects on that calf life, enhancing calf growth, improved dry matter intake, and also leading to greater weaning weights, right? And we do have some research that shows that during that stage can also improve feedlot performance later on in life. So I think that understanding both concepts and both mechanisms can allow us to better align those early life managements and tailor some strategies to enhance and also to achieve production goals depending of each operation and depending of that operation goal. Okay. So we do know that nutrition, as we discussed, lays the groundwork for a growth and development and will have consequences on that animal life. But we can also enhance that performance through additional technologies and through management strategies. One of those management strategies that can also enhance that performance is a growth promoting implants and the use of, I would say, growth promoting technologies. And one example is the implants, right? So what is actually implants, right? So implants are compressed pellets, as we can see in this picture here. So those pellets contain naturally or synthetic produced estrogens, androgens, or and progestins, or one of those, or a combination of those. So are the same hormones that we produce and also animals, right? So those compounds are going to trigger physiological responses and will actually increase animal average daily gain, improve feed efficiency, and improve lean tissue deposition. When you talk about growth promoting implants, they actually have been available for many decades. So the first commercial implant was introduced in 1957. But while we have a lot of research that shows their effectiveness, they are adopted different. So the adoption actually varies across sectors in the beef industry. So when you talk about the feedlot sector, is show research has shown and also surveys that up to 94% of shears and heifers had received one implant at least during finishing phase. And that adoption rate actually changes when we talk about the cow-calf sector, right? So that larger operations, so large cow-calf operations, so when they have more than 100 cows, are have been shown to implant steers in a percentage 37. And when you talk about the smaller operations, so operations that consisted with less than 100 cows, only 9% implant steers. So we see that those adoption rates are much higher in feedlots. So there are some opportunities here, and also opportunities to know what is going on, that adoption is lower in the cow-calf sector, right? So when you talk about implant insertion, the correct application of that implant is essential to ensure that that product is efficient and also important for animal welfare, right? So implants, they should be implanted or placed subcutaneously in the middle third of the back of the ear of the animal. And we should actually avoid any cartilage and also any blood vessels to decrease the chances for abscess formation and therefore decreasing their efficacy. So making sure that we follow BQA beef quality assurance guidelines. So BQA has a whole guidelines for implants insertion. So it's always important to follow those guidelines. Okay, but once done properly, is a very simple and straightforward procedure. And then is, I would say, very straightforward also to learn and to train people how to do it. So is when we're talking about insertion, is very important to make sure that you clean your hands between animals or wear gloves. And I'm gonna play this short video of us here at the station implanting the calves that we use for our research this year. And make sure that we clean the needle with disinfectant between animals, right? And replace the needle if you notice that that needle is not function properly. And as I mentioned, always recommend to follow BQA guidelines and train your employees or students in case you are going to perform this procedure. So as you could see in this video, is a very quick procedure when we actually perform properly, and there is basically no response. Of course, animals feel they feel, right, but when performed properly, I would say that is very quick and a straightforward procedure. Okay, so important, follow always BQA guidelines, and I think I don't know if I mentioned, but clean the site and the ear of the animal if that area, the site is not clean, and make sure that we everything is clean around and when we are doing the procedure. Okay. So I'm playing one more time just for all to see how simple and quick that can be. But when you, after insertion, when we apply and administer that implant, those hormones that are compressed in that pellet are going to be released and into the bloodstream. And in the bloodstream, they have a very have short life, and they're gonna be, if they are synthetic, they're gonna be converted into their biological form, and they're gonna bind specific carrier proteins to be delivered to the target cells, for example, muscle cells, right? So in case of those hormones, they bind to albumins in the bloodstream to be delivered for to the target cells, right? But when you talk about the endocrine status, actually, estrogen hormones, they act by stimulating the pituitary gland, right? That will release growth hormone implants. So they're gonna increase, therefore, the circulation of the age, but not only increasing the circulation of the age, they're also going to improve the GA receptor binding. So that's gonna be increasing the binding capacity in the liver. By doing that, they're also gonna stimulate the increase the synthesis of insulin like growth factor 1, right, or IGF-1, and the IGF-1 is gonna be released into the circulation and will promote muscle protein synthesis and reduce muscle protein breaking down, which will lead to increase in lean muscle mass. So endocrinology speaking, that's how hormone growth promoting implants increase protein synthesis and also lean muscle mass or deposition. But it's really important to make sure, important to emphasize that for implants to be to work and to be for their efficacy, adequate nutrition is necessary before we adopt this kind of technologies, right? So before we see those positives influence on feed efficiency and also gain, we have to make sure that we are actually reaching animal requirements for maintenance and also for growth before we use those we apply those technologies, because the technology itself, they cannot make any miracles, right, if you don't make sure that we do not allow good nutrition and promote a good nutrition for those animals. That was in 2023, the FDA released the guidance 191 that is actually update the rules of implant use, right? So right now, implants, they can be only used once per production phase unless the label specifically allows reimplantation. So sometimes that we can have this negative misconcept that we have been planting animals endless, right? More than we actually more that actually FDA and the guideline and the label allows. But now it is by law, by FDA guidance, that we can all only implant animals once per production phase. If the label of that implant that we choose do not specifically says that technology is allowed for implantation, we are not allowed to reimplant the animal. And those production phases are nursing calves, growing cattle on pasture, and feedlot or confinement cattle. So what changes in this guideline is cattle that is actually fed or feed in confinement for harvest since the growing phase and also finishing phase, they are considered a single production phase. Before, if they are during the, for example, backgrounding in confinement, they are considering one stage, and now that stage is only one. So only this feedlot phase that implants may allow reimplantation. If that implant that we use first says on the label that we can reimplant. Otherwise, you cannot reimplant the same animal. So I think right now for the feedlot phase, there are only 3 implants on the market that allows reimplantation during the feedlot phase. So it's very important to read the guidelines, read the label, and follows the guideline FDA guidance, right? So this new guidance was actually what made me start working with growth promote implants, because it can significant implicate management and decisions and compliance. So I think that is very important to follow guidelines and make sure that we can take advantage of those technologies available. Okay. So as I mentioned, as the FDA that approves this technology to be available, and is also the FDA that approve the list of the implants or the list of those technologies that are available within each phase of production. So in here, I'm showing the implants that are approved for nursing calves less than 400 pounds. So the phase that I am focused on. So there are actually 5 implants that are approved to be used on nursing calves. And as we can see on this table, those and also the ingredient of those implants changes, right? So there can be a combination of estrogen and androgen in the case of estradiol and progesterone, right? So choosing the best implant strategy will be according to the goal of the operation, right? If you want to go to a more strong technology, more with a higher dose, or if depending of the winning weight, your winning weight goal, or how long that animal will be maintained on your operation to winning. If you make profit at winning, it will depend. Choosing the technology will be dependent of the goal of the operation. Okay, so it's not all implants that are suitable for every phases, So there are implants that are available for the finishing phase that are not available for the nursing phase. So before choosing the implant, is very important again to read the label and for what that implant is need to be used specifically. There are also some considerations in terms of implants. If you're trying to keep the bulls, your bull for breeding, there is not recommended to implant bull calves, right? And there's also some research on the heifer side of things in terms of reproduction that needs to be considered as well. I think what is most a concern and it can cause public concern is the safety of implants, right? And questioning about the residue in meat. Because those compounds are really rapidly metabolized and excreted from the animal, there is almost no risk, no actually very negligible risk for residues in edible tissue, such as the meat that we are gonna eat, right? And also, as I mentioned, FDA needs to approve any technology before to be available for commercially available and regularly evaluates those products and those products must be continually proven to be safe to be remain on the market. There is another point that when we compare different common foods, there's vegetables that have estrogenic activity much higher than than meat, that beef from implant cattle. So regardless of implant status, meat, a high protein source, has lower estrogenic activity than vegetables, a vegetable, for example, a cabbage, for example. And also, that daily intake of estrogen is actually very low compared to our average daily production of those hormones in case of estradiol or testosterone, right? The same compound that are present on these implants. So I think now that we cover a little bit of implants, how they work, how we should use them, how is the better way to insert those implants, we're gonna move to the past research that we conducted, we conducted here at the station, and the current research that we finalized last week. So this was the first ever research that I did here in my position, that we evaluated the effects of trace mineral injections at weaning on growth, inflammatory, and immune responses in Bos indicus influenced beef calves that have received or not a growth promoting implants during the nursing phase. So this paper is actually in press. So if we're curious to see further results more than what I'm going to show here today, please check it out, this publication. So I think the reason, the rationale about this research was that throughout the calf life cycle, right? Calves experience different management strategies that such as castration, weaning, vaccination. So management strategies that are common and will happen during their life cycle. And those management, most of the times, they represent stressors to those animals, and those stressors can affect calf metabolism, immune system, and also performance, right? So those stressors, they can trigger an inflammatory reaction, which will increase the synthesis of acute phase proteins. But there is also some management strategies that we can apply on operations, beef cattle operations, that can actually mitigate the effects of these stressors. So in this case, specific on this research, those two strategies that we use was growth promoting implants to mitigate the effect on reducing growth performance of those animals, and also the injectable trace minerals as a way to improve antioxidant effects at weaning, right? So there was two questions. Every time I try to have a research and extension question before conducting any trial. So in terms of research, we wanted to assess the effect of implant during the suckling phase, and also assess the effect of trace mineral injections at weaning, and if that response will be different if the animal had been implanted before or not had received an implant during the nursing phase. And in an extension standpoint, we have been also surveying producers about adoption of growth promoting implants during the nursing phase, and see their acceptance in the adoption. Okay, so basically what we did in this research, we implanted steers with 2 months of age based on implant label. And we follow those steers until weaning, right? They were kept in a single group, and they receive only pasture during the suckling phase, right? And we follow those steers after weaning during a 45 preconditioning phase. So we body weight those animals 4 times before weaning, and at day 0, that was weaning until 45 days, we took blood sample and body weight those animals on day 0, 1, 3, 7, 14, 20, and 45. So what we did at weaning, we applied trace mineral, injectable trace mineral on those animals, or they receive a saline solution. Also during weaning, we vaccinated those animals against RBR, PI3, BVD1 and 2, because we were interested to see if that injectable trace mineral would increase immune responses and decrease inflammation after a period of stress that is weaning, right? What we did found on that study is that implant calves by weaning, they were 16.3 kilograms heavier than non-implanted calves, or almost 36 pounds heavier than non-implanted steers at weaning. So in this scenario, I did a return on investment, very simple math, where I did not consider any other normal management that we do in pastures, such as spray or fertilizing. So those expenses are not considered in this return on investment, but I think it should have been considered further. But only considering the price of the implant, the cattle, the market price, which I consider 1.3 pounds, $1.3 per pound, which nowadays is much higher than this, right? But considering this market price, the implant cost, that would return $30 per $1 spent. So that will be about a 3.11% return on investment, only by using implant during the nursing phase. Again, do not considering additional expenses on pasture management, right? There's a lot of a little bit more results, interesting results in terms of the mineral injection on this paper, but I'm not gonna cover today for the sake of time, but feel free to check that online and a higher and I think it's nice results. And in terms of current research, the second research that we just finished last week, we actually are evaluating the effects of creep feeding supplementation and the combination with growth promoting plants on pre and post weaning calves, right? So in this case, we had pastures that had creep feeding and pastures that did not, that calves did not have access to creep feeding. And we had implanted and non-implanted calves on those pastures, right? So specifically in this research, we had steers and heifers, but we follow those only steers during the backgrounding phase. And then we implanted those animals 100 days before the weaning. So we set the weaning date 100 days before they were implanted, and they were turned into creep feeding with access to those supplementation. We body weight and blood sampling those animals every 20 days, and we backgrounding the steers for 84 days. I actually performed, I also perform carcass ultrasound on those steers because we're interested to see the actually lean the position and if that could potentially decrease marbling and the growth composition of those animals that had received implants and also creep feeding during the nursing phase. Okay. So I'm not showing any results, preliminary results, because as I mentioned, we just finished this trial last week. Okay. So I think I'm reaching the end of my presentation for today. And as a take-home message, I think proper cow nutrition, maternal nutrition during gestation is essential, right? And can directly impact calf development and long-term performance. But additional management strategies such as growth promoter implants can actually enhance that calf performance and can be very profitable when combined with good nutrition, even for cow-calf producers, right? Also, as I mentioned, if you want to leave, if I want you to leave with one learning single thing from this presentation is that implants are safe and can help both producers in terms of increased profitability and also efficiency of their operation, and also consumers because they're gonna be have the opportunity to have access to a product with higher lean muscle deposition and with improving resources available. And is very critical and fundamental to choose the management strategy that can best align with operation goals and tailor specific nutrition and management strategies that will help producers with their end goal. If the end goal is higher body weight and higher gains by weaning, or also stocker producers after the backgrounding phase. And I think for my last slide, we have my research extension programs is also open for interns, and we do a set of research focus and also on mineral nutrition and a lot of management strategies to alleviate heat stress. And we also focus on prenatal and postnatal life strategies. And we have been focusing also on some different protein supplementation for grazing cattle and a heifer puberty attainment. So if you're interested on those research, I know that we have a lot of students here online, and you want to have experience working here in the West in case you are foreign, please feel free to contact me. And I hope this presentation could actually help with some new knowledge today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. dos Reis. That was great presentation. Very practical information too. So I really appreciate that. I feel like hope people can, start using it as tomorrow. I think we do have some questions on the Q&A box. So if you want to go ahead and take those questions, and I would say to people that if you have questions, please use the Q&A box. I think we do have some comments in the chat, but let's keep the Q&A box for the questions. There's
So
if you want
I
to
will read the first question. So Jocelyn is asking, why do I think the adoption rate is different for different operations, especially when look at the size of the operation? So I think when we talk about the size of the operation, we can have some sense about how much information is available for producers, right? Sometimes a small producer, they tend to have less information available, unfortunately. And also, depending of the region, they do not have much opportunity for actually to learn how to use those technologies or support, right? So I think in terms of the size of the operation, I think is more about information availability and also support. What I have been based on my survey that we have been doing here, most of the questions of producers also they tend to not adopt that technology because most of the times they do not know, for example, how to apply a growth promoting implants on their calves, right? So that tends to also affect adoption on those operations. But most of the times, what happens in cow-calf producers that sell those animals, their animals, their steers are winning. They do not castrate those animals because they think that by not castrating, they can have the same level of gain if you castrate and use an implant, for example. If they do not castrate, they tend to have this thinking, the way of thinking that they don't need those technologies because they can have the same level of gain if they do not castrate those animals, right? But actually, there is also some welfare involved, right? Every time that we delay castration, that's gonna be more difficult and more stress for those steers later on. So I do highly advise producers to castrate earlier in the early stage and also take the take the advantage of those technologies that have been proved to increase their gain, their animal gain. So in summer, I think it's a combination of different things, but that's why I'm trying to know their adoption and also why they do not adopt to try to, as I mentioned at the beginning, make a difference even if that's small.
Barbara, I have a question that might fit in here. So in a box of implants, how many it comes, like, what is the package?
So that's
Um,
actually a good question. The number of implants will be different for each implant, but usually it comes, I think, 100 pellets per box, if in average.
Mhm.
So you can implant is one pellet per animal, so you can implant 100 animals depending of the implants that we choose.
Yeah, and that might be a limitation to why smaller operations don't use it, right? Because if you only have 20 animals per
Exactly. Yeah,
implant,
that's actually a good point. And that pellet usually has an
expiration.
expiration date of a year. So that can be uh, waste.
Yeah, good. Do you want to get the next one?
In a grass-fed, grass-finished calf cow operation, what do you think is the ideal time for the year for calving? Thinking about nutrients in the grass. It's more important to have the richest grass in nutrients during gestation or during calves' early life stages. That's actually a very good question because when you choose to have a spring and either a spring or a fall calving, right, based on your answer, there is pros and cons when you choose both spring or spring or fall calving. Um, if and also will depend of your goal, right? If you sell animals at fall, perhaps you more interesting will be to have the richest grass nutrition early life because that would increase perhaps milk production, right? So I think it has both pros and cons. If you choose to turn your if you're in the south like me, you have ryegrass available. Is always you can decrease supplementation because when you're in the high peak of milk production, you're gonna have a grass that has more nutrients, right? So it depends of where we are, the goal, and when you can decrease the supplementation ne- the need of supplementation to reach nutrient requirements of those animals. Do we agree, Juliana? Do you want to complement my answer?
No, I think that's good. I mean, it all depends on where you're located, but what we need to keep in mind is that the highest nutrient demand of a cow will be at the peak of lactation. So
Exactly.
uh I would do everything I can to match whatever I have available for those cows with the peak of lactation, which if we're talking about beef cows should be around 60 days postpartum. So
Yes.
I think that's a good way to
Yeah.
manage our resources, but
Yeah.
I
So I
agree with
think
you.
in summary, there is not a right question here. It's always depend of your location, goal, and what you wanted to reach.
Yeah.
Uh, Next question. Is there any research on the effects of implants on reproduction, or are you curious about the effects the implants have on cows' heifers? So yes, there are a lot of research on implants on heifer, especially heifers reproduction, and the results is it depends. We have research that did influence negatively the reproduction of those heifers, and also we had research that did not had effect at all. But those results, I would say that is more dependent of is time dependent, and when do you actually implant those heifers? If you implant those heifers early age, there's more chances to have that negative effect on reproduction. But most of the research out there, they did not found negative differences on those reproduction performance. What is the risk what is the risk for animals if they arrive at the feedlot with an implant that it still has an effect in they receive another implant at feedlot arrival? Sergio, that's a good question. So every each implant has this payout period that I think I ended up forgetting to mention when I was talking about those implants. So different implants had different payouts. So usually those payouts are from 70 to 120 days. So that means that they're gonna those compounds are gonna be releasing slowly those compounds during those days. But usually the peak of those the peaks are seen 7 days after implantation through 45 days. But remember, related to your question, FDA changes their guidelines. So for producers, so it's important to choose to know if you have bought animals that had received an implant during the growing phase in pasture, so we can reimplant during the finishing phase. Remember, they can have one implant per production stage, so there will be no negative effect if that implant has that payout has been finished, or if, yeah, I think that answers your question. So
Yeah.
they can receive another implant at feedlot arrival if they had received during the growing phase in pasture. If they had received during the feedlot arrival, which I'm assuming that they did not, they were not in confinement during the growing phase, they can have another implant after the payout of the first one. And based on, again, implant label recommendations. If they had used an implant before that do not allow reimplantation, the animal cannot be reimplanted upon arrival, feedlot arrival. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, I would just add, like, I think it's producers have to think about the logistics, right? So if you want to implant pre-weaned calves, you need to have in mind what's your selling date or shipping date,
Exactly.
to be sure that you can transport those animals without
Mm-hmm.
any issues. I mean, like as we talk about BQA guidelines, like if you're vaccinating or if you're doing anything, that information needs to move forward too, but sometimes it doesn't. So best you can do is to plan to not to have that animal
Yeah.
clear of those withdrawal
But if you
time.
bought an animal from a backgrounding, that backgrounding had happened not only in confinement in pasture settings, it is totally normal to reimplant the animal because it's a different stage of production. I don't know what's going on, but my laptop is running. My battery is running low, so I'm gonna try to finish those questions before
Okay.
I die. How do you think the new regulation on implants can affect the production in all and or producers? So I think it can changes because usually, and also is here I think it helps, but also sometimes it can have negative aspects because I think it helps in a sense that before there was sometimes they use the implant one animal, another an implant, following just to ended up with a higher gain, right? But it can. I'm trying to see as a positive effect to enhance implant adoption within different stages of production, such as the cow-calf and nursing stages, right? But also it will better help producers to better tailor management strategies and sometimes choose an implant that has a not a very strong implant at the beginning if you talk about feeding feedlot system, and then reimplant if that implant allows a heavier implant, a more strong implant at the end, so that will not changes marbling or carcass that much.
I
I
think the
think
next
if I
question you
read the
kind of
question.
touched already on it. If you just wanna, um,
Uh, How do growth promoting plants impact metabolic development in potential replacement heifers? And is there a specific stage where implants are most likely to interfere reproductive development? I think I already answered that question before, right? So I think as soon as we implant heifers before 40 days, that would have more chances to negatively interfere reproductive development of those heifers. Um, First of all, oh, that's Juan. Hi, Juan. That's my friend. Congratulations on your nana. I would like to ask whether administering an implant to suckling calves could influence metabolic imprinting and potentially reduce intramuscular fat deposition marbling later in life at the time of finishing and slaughter. If so, could a creep feeding strategy mitigate the potential impact of the implant on intramuscular fat deposition? Juan, that's a really good question. So there's some research that on nursing calves that evaluating that effects within the finishing phase, and that did not influence carcass marbling, right? However, when we do implant.
Okay, folks, I think Dr. Dos Reis was having some issues with her computer. We actually talked about that earlier when it was just me and her. So I'm gonna try to reach out to her over the phone and see if she will be joining us in a minute or so. 1 second. There she is back, I guess.
I'm actually back on my phone just to answer the question. I'm so sorry about my computer. I had no idea what happened. So, research out there when they did implant nursing calves and follow those calves until a finishing phase, that implant did not affect carcass marbling. However, when we do implant animals during the finishing phase, that implant can actually affect marbling or intramuscular fat deposition, right? Because implants stimulate lean deposition, right? However, because we do not we tend to not feed the same when you talk about research, right? We don't finish don't slaughter animals with the same fat deposition. That negative effect can be suppressed. But when we are targeting same weights, research shows that implant calves usually needs a more longer time on feed to compensate those negative effects on marbling. An average 20 days more time on feed to 35 days. So that negative effect on marbling can be compensated if they are those longer time on feed. But if you do implant nursing calves, that will not be negative effect on marbling later on life. I think that question has a second.
We have one more question. Oh, you want to? So
Can you read for me because I do not have access now?
Yeah, so the previous question also asked about the creep feeding. So if so, could a creep feeding strategy mitigate the potential impact of the implant on intramuscular fat deposition?
So considering that implanting during the nursing phase do not have a negative effect on marbling, that would be based on the goal and based on, I think, the cost of supplementation and a creep feeding and the cost of the implant to choose the best strategy for the operation. So that's one of the goals of this current research that we just finished, right? Is comparing creep feeding and implant. And if the fact that and to check if the creep feeding can compensate the positive effects on growth performance of implants. So I think I'll have a better answer in a couple of months for you.
Very good. We do have one more question, and we kind of touched on this one a little bit already, but at what month of age can you put an implant on a calf? So what's the earliest, I would say?
So again, that would depend of the label of each implant. Different implant has a specific implant date, but usually when calves are about 60 days of life, they can implant, but there are implants that we can use when they are about 30 days of age. So that would specifically that will depend of the implant and the label, but usually 2 months of age.
Very good. I think that's all the questions we have for tonight, Dr. Dos Reis. Thank you very much. With that, I would like to proceed to our prize drawing. We do have still 30 people connected. So if you want to pick a number 1 to 30, that will be our luckiest person.
18.
18. Okay, so 1, 2.
1 8.
So our winner is Maria Camilo. Let me chat here. So Maria Camilo, you're our winner. So please reach out to me. I will reach out to you actually. And you are the winner of our prize drawing. It's $100 Amazon gift card. I will reach out to you in a minute via email to confirm the email to deliver that prize. With that, I think that's how we end our night. Thank you very much, Dr. Dos Reis. It was amazing, great presentation. I really appreciate you bringing very practical information. There's quite a bit of producers here, also like opening the floor for students that might be willing to join your program. I think that's really nice. So I really appreciate. Thank you very much. And I again want to say to everybody that if they have any questions or if they want more information, you can reach out directly to Barbara or reach out to me and I'll point out you to her. So I think that's what we have for tonight. Appreciate it. Tomorrow we're going to be here together again to hear from Dr. Ruth Woiwode. I got that right, I guess, this time. She'll be talking about welfare, animal behavior. So I hope you guys join us tomorrow night for her presentation. And Barbara, thank you very much. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And
Thank you so much again for the invitation. I was really happy to be here, and thank you all for staying until 8 p.m. for me, but I don't know where you are. So thank you so much for connecting. And I think I forgot to put my email on the presentation, but if you have further questions, please reach out to Juliana and she can email me. But I can also type really quick my email on the chat if you have any questions. If you allow me to, Juliana, I'll be really quick here.
Let me see if I can. Let me make you a co-host and then you should be able to.
So that's my email on the chat. So feel free to reach me out if you have any questions. And thank you again, Juliana. I'm a really big fan of this program, so I'll be here tomorrow. And I think you all. I hope you all can join tomorrow as well. And good night.
Perfect. Thank you. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.